voice. Can you just confirm that you can hear my voice as I narrate? Okay, thanks. Okay. But can you hear anyone? I have. Right. Let me check the volume. Is that better? Yeah, I have a mic. Is that better? I feel like I can hear myself better. Okay. Thank you. Um, I don't have any audio in the presentation, so that won't be an issue. Do I just stay in this room?
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, you can just stay in this room. I'll start the recording. Well, we're coming up to 3 minutes now, so I'll start the recording in about 1 or 2 minutes. And then at the 45-minute mark, then I'll just end the recording and end the webinar.
Okay. I guess I'll just share my screen now.
Yeah. Are your co-presenters joining soon?
Yeah, they're just joining with the regular link from the conference hub.
If they're going to be helping with the Q&A, they would need to join as a host.
Okay, I can text them because there was an email saying if you had people help to not do that. So,
Okay.
but I'll tell them.
You know their
So
name? I can check if they've already joined. I see a few people that have joined already. Uh,
Vincent Highland and Lindsay Clemes.
I do not see Lindsay. What was the first name? Sorry.
Vincent.
I don't see them in the list.
Okay. Do you want me to type their names in the chat?
Sure. Yeah. I do see a Zoom user that's joined and an iPhone user, so I'm not sure if that's one of the attendees. Yeah, I don't see those names.
Okay.
We're coming up to time now, so let me just resume the recording and then I'll give you some time reminders as well.
Okay. Hi, good morning, everybody. I'm going to post a link in the chat and we're going to keep reposting it. It has a link to the presentation directly. It has a link to a sign-up sheet that is part of the requirement from the WAMS, the Women and the American Story program. It has a link to the painting that we're going to be analyzing as a group. It contains the link to Padlet where we're going to post some resources and also to an evaluation sheet. And links to the two main sources we're going to be looking at today, the WAMS curriculum and Project Look Sharp. So let me post that in the chat. Okay. If you have a question, you can type it into the chat or the Q&A. All panelists are muted in this webinar format. So just so you know, if you have a question for me, please post it in the chat or Q&A. Okay, I will repost the link. Hi, good morning, everyone. If you're just joining us for Teaching Media Literacy Through Primary Sources from WAMS, my name is Leanne Ellis, and I am a member of the Office of Library Services under the New York City Public School Teaching and Learning Division. So I just posted a link in the chat and we're going to keep reposting it. I just posted a link in the chat to everyone that has this presentation, as well as other links we're going to be using through this presentation. So we are going to get started. The chat's disabled. Okay, let me just tell the tech person. Can everyone hear me okay? Let me get the sound up. Okay. Can everyone hear me okay? All right, just give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. Okay, great. So welcome everyone to Teaching Media Literacy Through Primary Sources. I'm going to post the link again into the chat, or I'll post in the Q&A. Oh, the chat is disabled. Can you turn the chat on, please, for everybody? Okay, so why don't we get started? We're going to be teaching media literacy through primary sources. Okay, so this is just thanks to supporters of the WAMS program. Okay, so if everyone could please click on the bit.ly or use your phone and access the QR code so that you can fill out the introduction, the sign-in sheet. That's a requirement of the WAMS program. There are going to be 10 links listed, and you can just choose one of the links and just fill out your name and email address. Okay. So as people are doing that, we are going to look at the agenda. So we're going to be doing a historical inquiry. We're going to be looking at a painting. We're going to be giving you time to explore the WAMS curriculum. why media literacy as an approach to using this curriculum, an introduction to constructivist media decoding, and applying that constructivist media decoding with using WAM's resources, and then give you some time for some next steps and follow up. All right, so it looks like okay, it looks like the chat is not open. So for the activity we're gonna do, if everyone could, I guess, respond into the Q&A. Okay. So that will limit the number of responses, but hopefully that will still facilitate discussion. Just to give you some background on Women and the American Story. So it's a curriculum that was developed by educators and museum staff at the New York Historical Society. And it spans women's history from the 16th century in the United States until 2001. So I was part of a program to encourage people to use this curriculum resources with students. And my focus was on the antebellum era, the Civil War, and Reconstruction. So the source I'm going to be sharing with you for our activity is on the Women in American Story. So can you hear me? Okay. Yeah, the QR code takes you to a Google Doc and you have to click on the tab. Okay. Yes, you can hear me. All right, great, thanks. All right, so we're gonna move on. Okay, you might not have known that only 13% of historical figures in textbooks are women. So that's a big reason why Women in the American Story curriculum was created. Many people think that this curriculum can be taught through history classes, of course, which is true, or if you're studying women's history. But I wanted to do an approach with media literacy so that you could see how you can use this curriculum with any grade level, even with elementary or middle school students, and not just reserving it for history, but you can use it with all types of content, particularly if you're studying a lot of the misinformation and media that is out there today. You can make historical comparisons to a lot of primary sources to teach both. All right, so the essential questions for this presentation are, how can media literacy skills help students critically analyze historical events and perspectives? How does the inquiry process build student engagement and understanding of historical content and context? So how can you use media literacy skills to analyze historical events and current, and how does the inquiry process build student engagement? So we're going to do a group activity, a historical inquiry of a painting. So think about this question as I give you more direct questions about this resource. How does the inquiry process build student engagement and understanding of historical content and context? So first, we're going to have you observe, just respond to what you see about the painting. Then interpret, what do these details mean to you or to your knowledge as an educator? And what can we conclude or infer about the details of this painting with evidence? Okay, so the first question is, what do you see in this painting? So I guess since the chat is disabled, if some people just want to put their response into the Q&A. Okay, so community, women helping each other, people having a day off, Okay, a community in the making, I like that. Okay, rural or farming. Okay, community of people working together. All right, so we're gonna move on to the next question. Who are these people? Where do you think this is taking place? And what details make you say this? Okay, can, okay, scene from the Old South. Okay, gentlemen playing music. A community of enslaved peoples. Okay, house of people outside. Southern. Okay. Possibly during the slavery antebellum period. Okay, so we'll move on to the next question. What do you think the painter wants you to understand about this moment in history? Okay, people doing different activities during their downtime. Freed slaves who migrated north. A romanticized version of slavery. Okay. There's a white woman on the side who's kind of looking at maybe the enslaved community's household. Okay, slice of everyday life. All right. Some great answers. So someone said a romanticized view. Are there any techniques that are used to communicate this message, or perhaps a different message about this community? Okay, family relationships are crucial. The white woman is a spectator. Okay, their house looks a bit run down. Okay, that people live in a people are living in an enslaved community, but they're still getting together as a family. Okay, so some people are seeing this as propaganda that's romanticizing slavery. Okay. And then the final question is, how and why might different people interpret this differently? So some people said this was a romanticized view. Does anyone have a different perspective? Or yes, the chat is disabled, so that's why we're responding into this. Okay, so some people are saying this is romanticized propaganda. Is there any other views, or is that okay, people might have different views based on their experience, which is common for a lot of perceptions. Okay, so I'm gonna put the link in the Q&A for where this painting is. You can actually find it in the link here, urban slavery. So this is one of the resources from Women and the American Story, and it gives you a background. It takes place in Washington, D.C., so it's an urban environment, and it kind of gives you a sense of what's happening, the background of it. And then it shows that Eastman Johnson, his sister is actually in the painting. So the painter is the brother of the white woman that you see in the painting. He wanted to capture the living conditions and daily life of enslaved people in Washington, D.C. Abolitionists praised the painting because they thought it showed a realistic condition of what enslaved people endured, but then pro-slavery advocates believed that the joyous mood showed slavery was good. So even at the time, different people interpreted this painting differently depending on their point of view and their perspective, which is how all of us interpret things even today. So thinking about the background of that painting, what media skills were highlighted in this activity? So if you just want to put that into the Q&A. Yeah, so again, you know, it's author's perspective, which is really going to influence how they create something and kind of the messages that they want to convey through it. So I'm going to try and speak up a little more loudly. Okay. So if everyone can answer the second question, what media skills do you think were highlighted during this activity? Okay, observation analysis, everything, multiple perspectives. I think we concluded that. Okay, bias, yep. So as you can see, you can use one source, and depending on your learning objective, you can emphasize different media literacy skills depending on the context of what you're teaching or the content or what you would like to emphasize. All right, so we're going to move on to what is the Women in American Story curriculum. Okay, so it's 10 chronological units. So it starts in 1492 and it ends in 2001. And these are the different units that are available. And I'm going to put the direct link to WAMS into the Q&A so that you can see it and give you some time to explore it. It's also going to be shown on this PowerPoint. So each unit includes resources. So you have images, it could be paintings, it could be photographs. There are documents, and alongside the text, it's summarized. So it simplifies the original text for students at different grade levels. There are many life stories, which are great to really personalize the historical time periods for different women and their different life experiences. There are classroom applications. There are STEM integration resources. There are art activities. And there are classroom-ready videos. Some are actors and actresses of today, or actresses they've gotten from today to personify historical figures, speeches they gave, or to emphasize different historical context. And the teaching resources include images, document transcriptions, background information, vocabulary, discussion questions, suggested activities, and printable PDFs. So if everyone could just open another, I guess you could use your phone, or if you have, if you could open another tab in your browser to look at this website. So it's wams.nyhistory.org. So I'm going to leave that up for just a moment so that all of you can take a moment to open this curriculum. And I'm going to highlight the best resources about it and an overview, and then give you some time to search it so that you can find a resource to add to our Padlet. So it's wams.nyhistory.org. And let me just go to that site. So this is the curriculum. It's the 10 units for Women and the American Story. If you look at the curriculum, if you just press on here, you can get a sense of the breadth of it. So for example, for 1920 to 1948, you can see how it's broken down by subject areas. And then each one includes key ideas, an introduction to that time period, essential questions, resources, and then life stories. The supplemental materials include art activities, source notes, and suggested reading. You could also do a search. So for example, say you did a search for citizenship, which is a big topic now. You can do a keyword search. and that will give you 158 resources. And then over on the side, you can filter down your resources depending on the classroom application, the region of the United States, the resource type, the theme. So some of the connections to curriculum could be science and technology. So if you're looking to use it beyond history, American culture could connect a lot to media literacy. And then obviously historical topics are listed below. And then the units themselves. So you can look at it in a broad way to drill down from a time period or curriculum perspective, or you can filter by looking for a specific resource. So what we're going to do is take about 5 minutes and select a notable resource with that your students would respond to from A Nation Divided. You can choose any time period you like, and then share out on the Padlet. You can either use the link that's listed here, the bit.ly, or you can use the QR code to access if you wanted to use your phone to access the Padlet to post a resource. Okay. So we're going to take about 5 minutes to do that. And I'm going to be reposting the link to the agenda and everything else in the Q&A during this time. Yeah, and feel free to post other resources. Thank you for everyone for sharing the image of the one from The Nation Divided. But if you want to post other great resources to the Padlet instead of just your comments, that would be great. So please, please post questions or resources. Like if you want to add a link, that would be much better for us as a group as opposed to your wonderful comments, which we love, but might not be as illuminating. So I just put the link again to the Padlet in the chat, or in the Q&A. All right, so we'll take one more minute for people to add to the Padlet. Thank you. That's great. I see there's a lot of stuff going up there. No, you don't have to add your name. As long as you can click on the plus button, which is in the bottom right-hand corner, there might be a little delay because I'm not sure what the capacity is for Padlet to handle traffic. But there might be a little bit of delay in your posting. So that's great. Please keep posting to that. We're going to go back to the presentation. So feel free to keep posting to that. All right. So thank you for sharing, everyone. We have some really great resources on there. All right, so what is media literacy? So obviously you can use this curriculum to teach history and to teach, women's history in America. But the tie into media literacy broadens the use of these resources beyond just using it in social studies classes. So what is media literacy and why it's important? We touched on a little bit earlier about looking at multiple perspectives, having students critically think about information and media, their own biases and experiences, how they're going to interpret how they see the world and maybe think about things, how to be a good listener, as Adam Gidwich was talking this morning, to really listen to other perspectives that may be uncomfortable. So it's help us ask critical questions and think about the world and our own biases and perspectives. Okay, so of course we still want to do that through inquiry. So it could be inquiry of a resource, which I showed you. It could be multiple resources that you add together to create more of a full class lesson. But by asking questions, it's kind of helping engage students in the process of examining and reflecting on and analyzing what they're looking at. Because knowledge isn't enough. Because all of us have this confirmation bias that really causes us to share information, resources that align with our own view, and sometimes dismiss arguments and sources that present opposing viewpoints. So by having students think about multiple perspectives and analyze an author's purpose and evaluate evidence, they can kind of broaden their understanding of different topics in the world. We can teach students have agency in their thinking and actions. So media literacy means decoding messages by asking key questions about their purpose and techniques, and evaluating the value and utility of such messages by making informed, reasoned judgments. So components of critical thinking are to ask questions, be inherently skeptical but not cynical. So you want to question things, but not dismiss everything as with a cynical viewpoint. You want to value logical reasoning, be able to distinguish between facts, opinions, and claims, and also be flexible and open-minded. So the process of constructivist media decoding is taking a source and then developing questions that lead to your learning objectives. So it could be a collective reading of a document, it could be a collective visual analysis, or visual and audio if you're looking at a video. It's applying prior knowledge, and then interpreting and evaluating diverse media documents. So Project Look Sharp, and we're going to look at the site in just a little bit. So they have categories and sample questions for media decoding. So depending on what you want to focus on, whether it's the authorship, credibility, the context of something to understand it, techniques used, how do different people respond to something differently, what are the effects of this, to help guide your lessons in developing a critical analysis of a media source, a primary source, or something contemporary. They also have questions set up for younger students. So this is the same types of questions composed for a younger audience. So again, you would just kind of decide what questions you're going to use based on your learning objective for that lesson and the content that you're using. So constructivist media decoding, you can use it with all subject areas and engages and enriches all students, particularly if you're looking at a visual that can help different students access and think about the source. It's adaptable to diverse levels and subjects. It's flexible. You could use it just as part of your lesson or to create a whole lesson. It teaches habits of critical thinking, and it can be effective with challenging topics to kind of guide students through a critical discussion analysis of what the source or sources are that you selected. So these are the different sources you can teach. So we're going to look at some lesson plans available from Project Look Sharp, and then some of the potential resources you could use from WAMS to teach these skills. So these are just the skills listed: evaluating evidence, cause and effect, facts, values, and claims. Okay. Okay. All right, so we're going to look at now key resources. Okay, so I apologize for the volume. I have it as loud as I have on my computer. So just some examples are, you can look at some lessons from Project Look Sharp. Picturing the Underground Railroad is a lesson they have. You could use it with, from WAMS, the life story of Kezia Greer. If you wanted to examine propaganda and bias, you could look at World War II student peace posters, and you can complement that with posters to recruit women from World War II, which are resources available in WAMS. Voting is a big topic right now, so you could look at multiple perspectives with women's voting and suffrage in the years up to the 1920s. And then, of course, WAMS has a lot of resources that are pro and anti-suffrage. Okay. So if everyone could please go to another tab in your browser and open up projectlooksharp.org. I'm just going to show you how you can access some of the lessons that are available here and some of the great topics that they have available. All right, so it's www.projectlooksharp.org. I'm going to put that, okay, let me go back. Okay, so we're going to click on that, and we're going to look at Project Look Sharp. Okay, so this is the main source, and you can see they are adding lessons all the time. So these are just some of their most recent ones: deep fakes, U.S. Sustainable Development Goals, and then it gives you the grade levels that it's designed for, and D-Day, Soviet versus U.S. history. It gives you some of the questions available, and then different lessons they have. Okay, so the questions I was showing you are here, the key questions for media decoding. So you can access those and download those as PDFs. So there's like the main one, and then the one, you can also access the one for in other languages. They also have it again for the younger students. Okay. So that's another thing that's available. Okay. So early childhood, and then this one here. So those are the questions that I was showing you. They have videos to demonstrate these teaching practice in real time with students, so you can get some best practices. The lessons are in person and online. You can also look at the media kits decoding. Okay. So if we wanted to look at a subject on voting, for example, I could just type in voting, and you can see the lessons they have available. There's 17. You can filter the results by grade level or by content area. Let's see, we wanted to look at confronting racism in the women's suffrage movement. So they give you, once you log in for free, they give you, you can download all of these resources. So you can create a free account here, just sign in, and then you can download all the resources. So I'm just going to search for that again. If I did voting, and I want to look at, okay. So this is one, it tells you 15 minutes is for high school. So these are all the materials you can download. They're all PDFs. And so this is just one of the lessons. Tells you what's in the document, questions you might ask, and kind of a guided plan. So it gives you a PowerPoint to use. So some of the lessons are PowerPoint, some are PDFs of the different images or media types that are used. And then they give you tips for online decoding. So you can look at a lot of these lessons. They have over 500 that you can then pair with resources from the Women in the American Story curriculum. Yeah, Project Look Sharp's all free. Is there Italian? I think I only saw 3 languages at the beginning. We saw Turkish, Farsi, and Spanish. Okay. But yeah, if you have a language that you're really interested in, please let me know, because we have good contacts with Project Look Sharp, so we could reach out to them to encourage them to translate this into other languages as well. Okay. All right, so these are the actual titles of lessons, so you could look those up and download them, and then you can look up these stories in WAMS for additional resources to use. So that way you could teach not just about the content, but you could teach about media messages. So you could tie it in exactly to a lot of things that are going on today. You know, have messages changed? Why or why not? What does that mean that there's different types of media available, much more so than, 150 years ago? So there's lots of, different questions and learning objectives you could build in. They also have starter kits. So as a part of Project Look Sharp, so that is one way to get started with media decoding. Okay. Oh, thank you. I will make sure I spell suffrage correctly. All right. So just if you want to know more about WAMS, please share these resources with your teachers back at your schools tomorrow and throughout the rest of the year and next year. There's additional professional development offered at New York Historical Society. And you can also apply to become the WAMS ambassador. It's a program that they have every year. Please take a time to share out and fill out the evaluation. You can click on the QR code. It is a Google Doc, so you're able to fill it out easily. And I'm going to take the last 5 minutes of the session to answer any questions. And again, I will post the message in, oh, it looks like the chat is it working now? No, okay. I will post the link again to all the resources back in the Q&A at the bottom. So I'm just typing an answer to Paulette. Yeah. So this is the link that has everything available from today. Any in-person exhibits? The New York Society, I mean, they do, mostly all the resources are online, but they have pulled from their collections. So I think if they do exhibitions on women's history, they would definitely pull, sources from WAMS. I don't think that they don't necessarily market it as WAMS, but they, do varying exhibitions throughout the year at the Historical Society. Is there a link in the QR code? Yeah, let me get that for you. Thank you. Okay, I'm gonna put that in the chat. So if you don't have your phone available, I just put the link to the evaluation in the Q&A. Thank you for attending, everybody. Again, if you have any, we still have some time for some more questions. Please let me know if you did get the, yeah, I'm sorry if the, yeah, the Wi-Fi connectivity, yeah, again, I'm sorry if the mic wasn't, you know, I'm talking as loud as I can in my home computer. I'm not sure why I wasn't louder. So I guess I should like just shout in my microphone. Okay, so it might have depended on your computer that you're using too. Yeah, you know, but the thing is, I did check the Zoom and you know here, but I guess because there's so many people, I don't know if that affected it. They're also doing the testing for the students today. I don't know if that was affecting it. It could have been a lot of different reasons. All right, thank you for attending, everybody. And again, please if you have any questions. Oh, okay. Someone said show their speakers. Is there 10 for, yeah, it's in the sign-in sheet. If you go to the main link here that has all the resources. Just click on sign-in sheet and just choose one to sign in. Okay. Thank you. Looking through the Q&A. Okay, got it. I'll put the sign in sheet again. Yeah, someone just posted in the chat. Thanks. It seems like the chat is working now. I don't know. I'm just posting stuff everywhere. I'm gonna post in the other thing as well into the chat. Thank you for attending.